So, hello and welcome to our knitting space. We are coming to you from the Osborne, for Jocelyn is mobile. Woohoo!
Woo!
If you are a returning listener, thanks for coming back. We're glad to have you return. If you're a new listener, come on in, join the conversation, grab a cup of tea, and I hope you're ready for the crazy.
We're so caffeinated.
Oh, we're super caffeinated today because Jocelyn's on the move, which means we had to stop and buy fancy coffee. So
I've
you know
had
what are we
2
gonna?
cups of coffee
Oh,
today.
jeez. What are we gonna cover today, Diana? Since you're caffeinated.
I'm so freaking caffeinated. I'm just gonna giggle like I'm drunk or something.
Sure.
We're gonna cover what's in our cups, woolly workings, non-theoretical spinning,
Segment title pending.
fibre flubs, rediscovered projects,
Title pending.
title pending,
Mm.
so little time, yarn on the go, what our podcasting is teaching us,
Ooh.
events, and a review, which is not a book this week.
Ugh, all the things.
So many things.
Settle in with a really long row of lace knitting. This is gonna take a while, guys. All right. Well, Diana, what's in your cup?
I currently have in front of me a bottle of cold pressed juice from the Green Carrot.
Which was your first time going today with me?
It's not the first time I've had their stuff, but it's
Okay.
the first time I've been in their shop.
I love going into their shop. They are wonderful people, and they're always willing to stop and explain stuff to me and read labels. Yay! Because they have these really pretty white labels on clear bottles, and I'm like,
Yeah.
aww.
They have this nice little minimalist sans serif font on a clear label on a clear bottle of juice.
It suits the company so well, and it's just, I can't read it. I'm like, oh man. But it's really good juice.
It's really good. I have the I heart. It's an actual heart emoji.
Ooh.
I heart GC, which I assume stands for Green Carrot.
Yes.
And it's so orange. It is the
It's-
orangest juice I've ever seen in my life.
It is very, very orange, which is super wonderful. I picked up a summer berry, and I heart GC as well.
And then we also both have some flash cold something or other
We
vanilla
stopped
bean
at the-
coffee.
We stopped off at the second cup, and while you're already done yours, I'm still working on my flash brew cold coffee
There we go.
in the vanilla bean flavor. So it's regular
Flashy and
brewed.
cold.
It is regular brewed coffee, and what they did in my case is it's a cream base with vanilla bean flavoring in it for the coffee in, and then they give it some ice cubes, shake it up, and give it to you. So you've got a chilled coffee that was brewed from hot. It's an interesting thing. I like getting it mostly because it's the new summer thing before I get to the point where I'm drinking coffee all the time and I have to have their frozen hot chocolates, in which case the Coconut Dream frozen hot chocolate will start coming back on the menu for me. But that is a summer drink where I can't have more iced coffee. I will go crazy and I need some sort of iced beverage. So I am super happy the summer menus are out. Your apartment looks more adult every time I'm over. Now, admittedly, I haven't been over in like a week and a bit, but that's because in events we'll talk about how you and I are not allowed unattended at a yarn store.
Oh,
Dear heavens.
yeah.
Oh well. It's a thing. Shall we discuss what we're working on? Or, as we like to call it, the woolly workings.
Yes, which is actually spelled with 2 L's, my computer informed me when I was doing show notes.
I've
I've been spelling it with 1.
I assumed it was spelled with 2 L's, but okay.
I've been spelling it with 1. It totally has 2. I'm really glad there's spell check.
Yes, the spell check is a wonderful, wonderful beast. What have you been working on project-wise?
I'm not sure that I've actually done any 365 granny squares.
Well, you would know if you had.
Yeah, I haven't streamed any, so I don't think I did any.
Alright.
I was really bad about writing stuff down this last week. I definitely did work on, because I streamed the textured triangle shawl, which we'll probably talk more about in events, but we're doing it as a knit-along,
We are.
and which you are working on right now.
I am currently, if you heard clicking of needles, is me puttering away at this shawl, which is a super wonderful, easy pattern. And because I'm doing it at a very chunky weight, it's really floofy. So floofy.
It's looking really good and totally different from mine.
Well, also I'm having a bad focus day, so really my only option is white yarn today. So I was like, guess I'm working on this one. I have obviously also been working on the textured knit-along shawl. Knit Along with Marley Bird on Facebook and Red Heart Yarns. I'm doing it in the Red Heart, what do they call it? Soft Essentials in their white.
I'm doing it in Soft Classic in Dark Leaf and Wheat.
I'm super enjoying the white. I don't actually have a super white fluffy shawl, so this will be my super white fluffy shawl, which is perfect. I'm already confident in saying I'm going to end up making another one of these shawls, because it is just a wonderfully simple pattern. That will also come up later in fiber flubs. And then we'll all know why Jocelyn's working on it today. Yeesh! I have also been puttering away with my Stephen West shawl, as always. I've added a couple of extra rows. I'm doing that in the Bernay blue, which I believe we decided was like a Caribbean blue.
Yes.
Instead of the teal that it says it is.
I would not call that teal.
Again, the growth of progress is slow, but I've reached that point in the shawl where a row is like half a TV show. So that's usually when shawls slow down, because it's a lot of rows.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like when you start a shawl and you're like, I did 12 rows. There's only like 30 stitches a row. Now I'm at like 200 or so stitches or something. Ugh. And a row takes a lot longer at that point, and I find that's generally when I go, nope, I need to stop after 2 rows and do something else for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I know you were working on your Belrose shawl because you were working on it at Impromptu Tea Cake and Death Night.
Yes, that is the only working on that I think I have done, but I finished one more bell, which is not the bell a day that I've been trying to do because I'm getting my next package for that soon. So this is the Belrose shawl, which was the first installment of the Strickme 2017 club, which is Martina Bame's yarn club. So 4 times this year I'm going to get a package with an exclusive for 6 months Martina Bame pattern and some lovely indie dyed German yarn. So the last one was the Belrose, which is a primarily garter stitch shawlette, I'm going to call it, with some short row mesh fluttery bits. The pattern calls them bells. I call them fluttery bits.
Fluttery bits? That's the technical term, right?
Yes, technical term. But I'm trying really hard to finish that, which is not hard enough because I'm going to get the next installment of that in probably a couple of weeks.
Well, you know.
Yeah. I'm going to go hide in a blanket fort and eat ice cream now.
Oh, we just bought ice cream and pie. Ice cream pie
did.
in a blanket fort? Oh, done. Only problem is once I get on the floor, I don't think we're getting me off. I've been stuck there forever.
What else have you been working on?
I did some more work on the Stormy Sky shawl, which is by the blogger Life is Cozy. It is the shawl pattern that I have chosen for my really seriously annoyed grapes yarn that I got from Ancient Yards. The swatch was knit up beautifully. It's so pretty. And I started my rows. I'm actually past the startup rows. What? I know. It's crazy. I stuck with something past the startup rows, people.
Oh my goodness.
Take a moment. We're all in a little shock, I know. I've gotten through one full rotation of the patterns, so I am starting to sort of figure that out. It's a free pattern, so it deals with it deals with dropped stitches, as well as knit 2 together yarn over garter, like mesh sections, and straight up garter stitch. So beautiful, wonderful, not super complicated, and put together really interestingly. It's an asymmetrical shawl, so I also have the added benefit of being able to literally just keep making it as big as I want to, so long as I end on a garter stitch row. The pattern says you can make it as big as you want. So nice. I can utilize a lot of that yarn and make myself quite a nice, large, floaty fingering weight shawl.
Excellent.
It's my first fingering weight shawl. I usually work in heftier yarns for my eyeballs' sake.
It's going to be so pretty, though.
It is.
I like that elongated stitch that you were doing on
It was a drop
Sunday?
stitch, yeah, that I was showing you. Yeah, it was a yarn over twice drop stitch section, which looked super pretty once you kind of stretched it out a little bit to see what it was doing. I mean, I'm going to have to aggressively block that shawl because there's a lot of fairly complex little sections in it, so just to get it to open up and look really good, but that's fine. That's not a problem. I have blocking boards now. I just need to get blocking wires. And some blocking pins and stuff, so that's totally doable. I just need to order them, that's all I need to do.
If you want to borrow some to see if they work for you, I have
Yes, that would
pins
be
and wires.
wonderful to see which one I like better. I know wires are better for cables, so I suspect I'll end up getting both because my passionate love affair with cables is probably not going to diminish anytime soon.
Well, wires work if you need everything to have a nice straight edge.
Oh.
Or like if you want everything to line up nicely, but if it's like a circle, then wires are super not going to work.
No.
But if you have a perfectly triangular shawl, wires work great.
Or you could make it perfectly triangular if it happens to be slightly off triangular.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm liking this wire idea. This has got potential. All right. I have been working on my 365-day granny project because I refuse to fall behind again. I don't want to have to play catch up. So I was behind one day, so yesterday I had to do 2 squares. But that is because Mr. B stayed over Saturday to Sunday, which was wonderful. We don't often have the opportunity to spend that much time together. He works 3 jobs and I've been at home recovering, so it's not been the easiest thing to get around.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's fine. And he was able to stay over, and we, again, had impromptu tea cake and death because knit club didn't happen, so we got to spend the time, the 4 of us together, you and me knitting, and the boys working on their Warhammer models, which was really nice.
I would like to elaborate that death here generally means gaming.
Yeah, we usually, when we started gaming regularly, the 4 of us, we were playing a game called Kingdom Death, because the boys had backed it on Kickstarter, separately. So they both own a copy, which is kind of funny considering our primary gaming group is each other. But okay, that's fine. They needed to own their own copies. That's okay. And in that game, which is quite gothic horror themed, there's a lot of death.
So much death.
So much death.
We died a lot.
Oh, yeah. Did we ever?
We died hard.
Yes. Yes, we did. So that's fine. It's the nature of the game, but then I started, and I'm a fan of cake. Yes. I'm a fan of sweet stuff, let's just be honest.
So we would play this game while drinking tea and eating cake.
So sort of became our monk here for when we were getting together to call it Tea, Cake, and Death.
Yes.
So that's fine. That's just our way of saying we got together and gamed. Coffee. It's so smooth, and there's not a lot of cream in it. But just enough to flavor the coffee without adding sugar.
It's good.
So good.
Make sure you mix it before you drink it, though, because a mouthful of vanilla syrup is actually really terrible.
Not as tasty as advertised. Yeah, no.
No, a mouthful of vanilla syrup is gross.
Vanilla's not actually that sweet. Have you been working on anything else?
Just my socks. I have finished the body of the sock. I just need to do the cuff.
Ooh.
So I need like an 1.5 inch 2x2 ribbed cuff, and then the pair of socks are done.
I have 1 thumb left on the Happy Hands mitts, and I will be done my 2nd pair of mitts.
Nice. Those went
1
whoosh.
thumb. As soon as I am past that broken rib knitting section, and the Happy Fingerless Mitts pattern is by Jennifer V. Let's link that in the show notes under my Ravelry, because it's in there.
Yes, absolutely everything we talk about in our show notes, to quote the Knitmore girls. Wait, did I just say everything we show? What? What did I just say?
Wow, perhaps 2 cups of coffee a day is not great for your smarts levels.
Let me try that again. Take 2.
Oh boy.
To quote the Knitmore girls, absolutely everything we talk about can be found in our show notes at northernknitspodcast.com.
Oh, we're going to start sneaking in the name bombs, are we? All right, I see how this works. Super love. I love complete show notes, so I'm so happy that we went that route with the super complete show notes. Super segued off of what I'm actually working on.
Mm-hmm. The rest is all you. So what else are you working on?
Everything! No, I haven't done a lot of progress on the work. I've been really doing the 365 granny squares, and I've been getting back into my actual work. So theoretically, the knitting bulk will slow down, because now I'm actually... Technically, I've gone back to work. I work for myself. And I'm trying to do more setup, which we'll talk about later for the Etsy shop. So I've got lots on my plate, and I'm now finally feeling well enough to do stuff, so I'm not stuck in bed all day. As always, more dishcloths, because apparently I'm in a dishcloth place. I've discovered I can knit dishcloths in the dark with my tiny little bedside light, which is really old and antique, and is actually I inherited from a family member who's no longer with us. I find that it's just enough light that I can do the yarn over increases on one side and the knit 2 together yarn over decreases on the other side. So for me, there's enough contrast between the yarn and the needles that I can work on it before bed, which is wonderful as I take medications before I go to sleep, and sometimes I'm out like a light in 5 minutes, and sometimes I'm up for an hour, because my body has gone, what? So that's my life, and that's fine. I always have to take the medications, and I will for the rest of my life. That's not an offensive thing to me. Also means I have a very, very, very valid excuse to go, nope, I have to go home to sleep in my own bed. And not many people get the opportunity to sleep in my own bed, so consider this too much information should you desire, but I have a pillow top mattress, and Diana can confirm it is quite comfortable to sit on.
It is.
And I quite enjoy sleeping in my bed. I have broken in my bed. It's at that perfect broken in stage where you got that slight indent that you just kind of roll into, and it's perfect. Yeah, and I'm a side sleeper, so I've got that extra indent where my hip sits. Yeah, I love sleeping in my own bed. I'm quite attached to my bed.
Oh, the no longer theoretical spinning.
The no longer theoretical spinning, for you actually spun some stuff. I took a Facebook video and posted it in the Knit Club group just cuz.
I actually did some spinning on my electric Eel Wheel 5. I turned it on for the first time. It's so quiet. I thought it would be louder.
Quiet. I was worried at the volume level for it because I can hear the treadle spinning wheels. And they're not bad, but you can definitely hear them. But I hear less ambient sound from the electric Eel 5. So my brain's like, oh, hello.
Yeah.
That's quieter than a double treadle spindle, or at least the double treadle spindles I've heard. Now it's no claggedy-am. But
Oh, and just the faster it was spinning, the louder it got.
Well, yeah.
It goes up to speed 5, whatever that means. I turned it up to 3, and I'm like,
nope.
I don't want to turn it up any higher. I think I'm going to break it. So it goes fast. On the other hand, 1 is so slow.
1 is quite slow, which is really good for learning and stuff. I was worried that it would be going too fast for you to figure out tension, so I watched an avid fascination for like 45 minutes while you were putting away.
It goes from as slow as you could possibly need it up to nuclear, which is fantastic. And the motor is silent. It's just the actual plastic bits spinning that make the noise.
Yeah, it's so wonderful. I was so positive we would hear the motor, so I'm super impressed with your Kickstarter find, my dear.
Yeah, the only thing I was slightly unimpressed with, maybe, was I was having a lot of tension issues. I don't know how to spin, so I was figuring out all of this. I'm like, okay, is this me or is this the wheel? And I figured out that it was the wheel.
Okay.
Because the little, I don't know if you saw, it was on the other side of you, there was a flower kind of bit.
Yes, I could see it when I was walking back and forth doing super necessary cheese and cracker creation.
Yes. So it has a black elastic attached to it, which adjusts the uptake of the spinning wheel, which I learned about while I was spinning.
Oh, wonderful.
So the tighter it is, the more uptake it has. So like the harder it pulls the yarn away from you and winds it onto the thing. The bobbin. Winds it onto the bobbin.
The thing away from you? We're going to learn all the technical terms?
Yeah. But the screw on that was a little bit loose, and it took me forever to figure this out. But the screw was a little bit loose, so I could turn it up to a higher tension, but it wouldn't stay there because it's literally just an elastic tied around a knob. Like, this is a low-tech wheel. It is cheap, but it's entirely functional.
Well, which is fine, because like for your first spinning wheel, it doesn't need to be a huge investment. It's like, what if you've got it and spun for a while and then decided you didn't like spinning, rather than dropping $600, $700 then add shipping and stuff, because ordering
the Knitwear girls seem to like the device so much. I actually looked up how much it costs. It was over $1,000.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
they can get quite
this
expensive.
one is just over $200.
Yes.
And I got it on the Kickstarter, so it was under $200. That's American though, so it was over $200 by the time I was done.
That's sort of the price of being Canadian and liking spinning.
But anyway, so far.
How much did how did Miss D? Miss D paid a good chunk of change for the one that she's got coming to her.
Yeah, but she's getting like a custom-made thing.
Oh yeah, it's going to
be gorgeous.
Beautiful.
I just want to like pet it.
May have to worship as a deity.
We might, yes.
Just gonna throw that out there.
Yeah. Yep. It's gonna be gorgeous. But yeah, so Electric Eel Wheel 5, really like it. Has a foot pedal. I thought the foot pedal would be kind of stupid, because it just starts and stops the machine. So useful when your hands are full of fiber and you're going, wait. You can just hit the foot pedal and it waits.
Oh, good.
So it's great.
Let the peer pressure for me to begin spinning start.
That brings us to fiber flubs.
Oh my god.
I realized I have a minor one that didn't actually result in a flub. It was just, hey, I can't do math. But it didn't actually result in a flub.
I have two. Two!
Actually, no, I lied. It totally did result in a flub. So why don't you go first since you have more?
And it's a good thing I have learned now as I'm expanding and moving into lace knitting and learning lace knitting, which is one of the real reasons to do the podcast, was to sort of talk about learning rather than being experienced knitters. So every project I pick up, I try to learn something new or have sort of a different process to it. The knit along is to learn how to do knit alongs and participating in things and being more active in social media. So the pattern's not complicated, but the extra stuff sort of also consumes a little bit of time, which is new for me. In the Stormy Sky shawl, I've never done drop stitches before, so the drop stitches are new for me. So I did the drop stitch section perfectly fine. I did the second garter stitch section perfectly fine. And I thought to myself, no, throw in a lifeline. Do it before you do any of the fancy sections. Just get in the habit of doing that, because and especially because I'm working in a fingering weight and a light fingering weight shawl weight, I'm going to struggle to see stitches to pick them up if I drop them. So I'm going to need to, and I'll just throw in more save lines, which is fine. It means I'm going to have to think back less.
Mm-hmm.
Not 4 rows after I said throw in a lifeline before the end of my second garter section. So I'm just going to throw in a lifeline every other garter section. Yeah. Dropped 3 stitches. And the whole lace part section just unraveled.
Aww.
And I went, oh man, if I hadn't thrown in that lifeline, I would be starting all over again, because I can't see that small of a yarn to pick the stitches up. So it's not like I could just pull it off the needles and tink it back, and it's too small for me to focus on to weave a line in. So I was like, oh dude, saved by the skin of my teeth, just because I thought, nope, something will go wrong. Because it always goes wrong, especially when you're having problems focusing on your yarn. I was having a relatively good focus day, so I was like, so glad I urged on the side of caution. Now, that means forevermore people are going to see random strings of different colored yarn out of like all of my works and projects randomly staggered for no reason other than that'll be my only way to pick up if I have to think back at any point. So my work and project photos are about to become really colorful.
Makes for a more interesting photo.
It saved a lot of grief, because otherwise I would have had to have done those 24 rows over again. And that would have really irritated me. Now, I would have gotten better at the pattern, so my edging would have been crisper, my drop stitches would have been smoother, like it wouldn't have hurt anything for it, and it certainly wouldn't have hurt me to frog it and start all over again, because it just is all part of the learning process. But I felt really nice not having to do that.
So, lifelines.
Lifelines. Oh, unintentionally and intentionally saving my butt. Oh, man. Did I mess that up? I messed that up. Look.
Oh, no.
I have fiber flubs. I have one more fiber flub. I don't know if you have a fiber flub.
I have a flub. I flubbed on the stream the other day. Yesterday, in fact. I was working on the knit along to get it done and have my picture submitted of section 1 for today. And I was thinking, so I to count my stitches, because the pattern says do it and do section 1 until you have 72 stitches.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm counting up half the shawl and multiplying by 2. And so to my thinking, there's 4 increases, so the whole thing should increase by 4 stitches every other row,
yes.
Or I guess every row 4, because you do row 4 and 5, and row
yes.
4 is the one with all the increases.
Yeah, every active row 4.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, but every time I get to a new row 4 and I'm counting my stitches, I'm only going up by 2. Why am I only going up by 2? There's 4 increases. Should it not be going up by 4? As a result, I ended up knitting 1 more row than I needed to, and then realizing, oh wait, I'm only counting half the stitches. Therefore, I'm only counting half the increases. I'm still getting an appropriate stitch count for the whole thing. I was just, only counting 2 of the increases, so of course it only went up by 2. Doink.
Oh boy.
So I ended up doing 1 more row than I needed to.
Okay.
Which was fine. I just tinked back a row. Wasn't that bad.
Well, in a
Just
row in
shamefully
section...
going, I can't math. I have a degree in computer science, but I can't math.
I have a degree in history. I've never pretended I can math. Never ever once have I pretended I can math. Nope, it happens all the time. I think that's going to go back to the counting to 2 is hard.
Mm-hmm.
And always read your pattern all the way through.
I did. I did both of those things. I was trying to count to 4, though.
Oh,
That's
well, maybe counting to 4 is your problem, because counting to 2 is my problem.
I also
Me and
can't count to
Ribstick.
2. I don't know. Maybe it's even numbers. Low even numbers.
Okay, we'll just blame even numbers.
Yeah.
So forevermore, everything has to be in odd numbers.
Yes.
Duly noted.
Okay.
My other giant fiber flub, which is why I'm working on section 1 of the knit along shawl again. So I did it. It was great, wonderful. I enjoyed the pattern, set it down, great. Picked it up to start section 2 because I'm like, I'll just get a head start on section 2. I had knit all my purl rolls in section 1.
Oh.
So I've had to redo all of these 33 rows.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's a thing that happened to me. So I'm currently reworking section 1. I'll be done today. I didn't change the photo or update it because I only took the photo of the one side of the work. So I'm just updating it manually. And then section 2 won't look funny when I knit it. So
Ah.
I realized that late Sunday night and went, grumble, grumble, grumble. When I started section 2, and man, some days I'm very, very pretty. And remembering to, or forgetting to purl the rest rows when the instructions say knit 2, purl to the last 2 stitches, knit 2, which is a beautiful rest row, which I've done multiple times across shawls now. I don't know why, but I thought it was knit across the rest row.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fine. That's how it's gonna be. That's how it's gonna be. There's just, yep. Those are my fiber flubs, and I think that's quite sufficient.
It's quite enough flubbing.
For me, anyway.
So I'm inserting a temporary new section in here.
A random interval section? Show up occasionally section?
Yes, because I got new end tables, which necessitated reorganizing my living room, which necessitated reorganizing my knitting corner. And I unearthed
pretty coffee tables.
And I unearthed a lot of UFOs in the process. So I would just like to say, hi, my name is Diana, and I'm a UFO addict.
I feel like I should say hi, Diana, but then I really, really don't want to, because I don't want to look at how many projects I have on my needles right now that I'm not currently working on, or I've put down and walked away from. Same with like on my crochet hooks and stuff. Oh boy.
Would you like to know all the things that I have put down and not picked up in far too long?
Yes, please. Let's make you sound crazier than me for once. That works great for me.
Okay. Well, the worst one, I unearthed at the very bottom of the pile my Game of Thrones lace shawl.
Uh-huh.
That was a knit-along from 3 years ago.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's going well for you, I take it?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I actually haven't looked I looked in the bag long enough to go, oh, that's what that is. And I feel ashamed now. So I have a sock yarn lace shawl that needs finishing.
Good thing we're doing Stash Dash.
Yep. I also have my Celtic Myths fingering weight shawl, also from a knit-along from 2 years ago.
I'm sensing a pattern here.
Just maybe. I also discovered a spare ball of yarn that was not with that project, that is now with that project.
Oh, what yarn are you making it out of?
That is the Juniper Moon Farms. It's a cotton linen blend.
Ooh.
In sort of a brown beige color.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's a good summer working shawl.
It is, and it has fantastic stitch definition.
Sweet.
Which is great because it has a very intricate cable lace. There's no lace. Intricate Celtic cable border.
I was getting confused for a second. I was like, I thought you said Celtic Cables. I could be
Yeah.
wrong. I might have misheard. I'm running on a little sleep, so...
Nope, I'm just misspeaking because I have too much caffeine in my system.
Duly noted. Can one really have too much caffeine?
Yes.
Okay, if you say so.
Speaking
of caffeine, hey, look, there's my coffee.
Another thing that I'd kind of forgotten about was a giant bag of yarn. Giant bag of Lion Brand yarn, which I had purchased for the express purpose of making a corner-to-corner crochet blanket in approximately a queen size, with the intent that that will be a wedding present for my fiance, because I will make it...
Oh my god, that yarn!
Yeah.
That's a big bag of yarn!
It is, and I forgot about it.
How did you forget about it? We went
It got
to Michael's
buried!
specifically to buy that yarn!
It got buried!
In the colors for that house. What is he making?
The house crest.
Because he's making a house crest for his family name.
Yes, so the Canadian government, it turns out, if you pay them money and submit a design, they can issue an official house coat of arms. So my fiance is making an official house coat of arms.
Because his family doesn't have one.
Some other things I unearthed. My distinction shawl was slowly getting buried.
Ooh, was it?
Yeah, because...
the one you really wanted to start that you showed me the pattern I bought the yarn and cast it on for?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, the one that I wound the yarn for and found needles for and then haven't actually started yet.
Okay.
So that's been unearthed. There's more.
Keep going.
I found my bag of crochet granny squares. Or rather, I found several piles and an overflowing box, which have now been corralled into a single bag, containing 60-some granny squares.
Yeah, I'm at 130 some.
I also found, turns out I wasn't out of all of that yarn that Mr. B and Chris's mom got for us.
For Christmas.
Yeah. Yes, there's one more blue ball, which fortunately goes actually quite nicely with that mustardy gold color that I picked up.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so that'll work nicely together.
Yes, I believe I am turning our Christmas present yarn into the pussy hats for each one of the knit club members this year for Christmas. I believe that is what I've decided to do with that.
I have 2 more things.
Keep going. I mean, this makes me feel super less crazy compared to last week when it was all of the Startoses and I had 6 new projects.
I kind of forgot it was folded up on the back corner of my desk. My mom brought me a very old scarf that her mom knit. So this is my grandmother knit this scarf in the 70s or something.
Or something.
I actually don't know. It was my mom's, I think, favorite childhood scarf.
Okay.
And it's pink and white variegated yarn, which I didn't know they had back then. But it's got a few holes in it, so I need to find some matching yarn. I don't think I'll be able to match the pink, so I just need to find some white worsted weight.
That might be easier.
Yeah, and it feels like wool, or wool acrylic, I'm not sure which. So I need just a little bit of white worsted weight to fix that. And then, of course, I still have my hand-knit socks languishing because there's a small hole in one of the heels. So I need to fix that, which I do have more of the same yarn for, so I can just fix it. I just need to, actually fix it. So, I am a UFO addict, and I am starting nothing until a few of these go away. And I really hope I don't have to do another one of these sections for a very long time.
I'm going to have to do those sorts of sections, and I'm okay with that. Because I'm crazy, and I'm comfortable with my levels of crazy.
So let's go over to a you section.
Sure.
For so little time. What have you been sewing?
Nothing. The reason I've been sewing nothing is because I'm still having tension issues with my sewing machine. So I'm thinking it's time to take the sewing machine into the doctor. So I'm going to see if I can book an appointment on the Saturday of May long to take my sewing machine down because my daddy will be in town. And if you're a new listener, you won't know. If you're a returning listener, you will know that I am quite visually impaired. And when they give you a visual mobility assistance cane, or as I like to call it, my blind lady stick, they take away your driver's license. Because it's no longer safe for you to be driving on the road. I am upset at the limitation in my mobility. I am not upset about having to give up my driver's license from a safety standpoint. It is not safe for me to be driving, so it's fine. I'm not angry about that. But it means doing things like getting sewing machines repaired become a little bit more of a process. Now, admittedly, I live with drivers. I live with my sister and my brother-in-law, and they could take me, but I also know a small child should have lives full of activities. So in addition to planning their wedding, which they're down to the last 4 months of, so everything starts to hit the fan about now, cleaning the house, taking care of their dogs, taking care of my niece, and having jobs, plus all of the extracurricular activities, plus their workout schedules, plus, their personal stuff, there's not a lot of time left over. And they're pretty good at helping me get to doctor's appointments, and they help out with stuff when they can. Because I've been so sore and tired, Chris picks up pop for me. Like, he'll grab my ginger ale and potatoes for me if I need it while he's at work, because he's a grocery manager. So he'll bring them home after work for me, because then that way I don't have to try to get them home on my own. So they are helpful, and it's super. And I mean, I'm home all the time, so I can pitch in, help babysit, and I can help make sure laundry gets done so that they have more time to run these errands. Although I do like to leave some of the bigger things that I know could take time for when my dad's at home, because my dad is home to visit with family, and he's home to help do some of the bigger projects. So I need to send him a text tonight and go, hey, if I booked an appointment on Saturday to take my sewing machine in to get fixed, could we get it fixed while you're down? So I'm hoping he goes, yes, absolutely. And then that is something that we can go do. But my sewing has been halted just because of machine issues. So I'm going to continue to cut out patterns and get stuff prepped, and then do my hand mending and stuff, because I can just sit on the couch and mend small chunks of hem and small repairs that I can do as a hand stitch.
We are on to Yarn on the Go!
Yarn on the Go! I mean that thing where we dump everything else because we don't know where to put it.
We went to a thing.
We always go to a thing.
And we bought some yarn.
Okay, now.
I know, I said I wasn't going to buy any more yarn
I
until...
make no such promises.
Until the Manitoba Fibre Festival, and then literally...
2 days later? No, a day later.
No, it was a week and a bit. It was...
Okay, you started a week, but you said it again last podcast.
Did I?
Yes.
Pooh.
So not even 48 hours after your secondary, I'm not going to do this.
I have a yarn problem.
You bought yarn.
I did.
Thankfully, I have never said that because I know better. And the moment I say I'm not allowed to do something, the urge to do it is quite significant. I'm like a small child with the Staples Easy button. Don't tell me not to push the button. I understand this about myself. And that's fine. We went to a Shibui tea party down at Wolseley Wool, which is one of the local yarn stores, which was fantastic. It was a beautiful day.
Sit in a sunny window.
We did. I was able to secure us a ride down, so we were able to see how far I could get home under my own power, which was a wonderful experiment. We also weren't in a rush. We didn't have any sort of plans after the fact, so we were able to just sit and enjoy what we were learning and seeing. And the Shibui yarn is beautiful.
So nice.
So nice. And I don't care that it's $40 or $50 a skein. I don't care.
Well, it's $25 a skein, but they're 25-gram skeins.
Yes. I'm sorry. You have to buy like $100 worth of it to do a shawl.
Yeah, it's 50 Canadian dollars to even think about a hat.
Yes. Yeah.
Because their thing is that you blend 2 or more strands of yarn together.
Yeah.
In order to create bespoke fabrics.
Okay. And I am, of course, addicted to what they call silk cloud, which is a fine lace weight that I can't even see it when it's on the needles on its own. That is how beautiful fine it is. I forget what the silk cloud is made out of, other than silk.
Silk cloud is made out of 60% kid mohair and 40% silk.
That explains why it is buttery soft.
It is lace weight and comes in 330 yard or 25-gram skeins.
Which is beautiful because I'd like to mix that with lunar,
which is 60% extra fine merino and 40% mulberry silk. Also in a lace weight.
Yeah.
They have twig and they have reed.
I think you liked reed more than twig?
I don't think I tried the twig. I really liked the reed. I mixed it with a bunch of stuff.
Okay, so it was the reed you really liked.
Yeah, which is 100% linen.
I forgot the other one that I did, but I think If I did the twig or the reed, I would do that gradient shawl that was passed around.
Oh, yeah.
I would do that, because that would be a great, big, graceful drapey shawl. Again, in the $150, $180 range. The price doesn't frighten me as much as I'm making it sound like it frightens me, but that one I would be so tempted to do in a white with a gray stripe, like a white-gray color combination, because it would be so beautiful.
Yeah.
Anyways, my long-winded version of saying I wanted to buy all of the yarn we tried and felt, and I want to have it all in a sweater's quantity worth because I'm crazy, and I need to wait for a sale because I really need fingerless gloves, shawls, wraps, cardigans, a head-to-toe jumpsuit if I could swing it. It's such a nice yarn. I don't care. It's nice. It's so pretty. I think I'm going to have to really restrict myself to a shawl and that draped summer cardigan shrug thing that I want to do. As I drink more coffee. Ice cream going.
I am unlikely to ever drop $200 on a sweater's worth of this yarn.
I'm crazy.
But at some point in life, I may drop $50 to get some pebble and reed to make a really light summery drapey hat. The reed is the aforementioned 100% linen, and the pebble was 48% recycled silk, 36 fine merino, and 16 cashmere.
Well, the pebble was nice too.
I really like the pebble. Anyway.
Some things. I'm gonna go things. I know you're gonna go thing. Needs to be made out of that Shibui yarn. Oh, it would be really good. A really nice lace weight hat for the summer. Because I know you're a hat fan.
Let's see, that would be the Kima.
Kima would be good.
And the Lunar. And what else is lace weight? Silk Cloud is lace.
Oh, Silk Cloud just went well with everything.
Pebble is light fingering, which is almost lace.
You could do Pebble and Silk Cloud in that that white hat you wear all the time. Pattern thing. Words here.
The one that I was wearing earlier?
Yes.
Yeah, that one. That's the Lindsay.
The Lindsay slouch.
Yeah.
There we go.
Which is a crocheted one.
Why not? Because I think you've got it in the fingering weight. Or is it a DK Sport weight that you did it in originally?
It was secondhand unlabeled yarn. All I could discern was that...
Mystery yarn!
Is that it was 100% wool. That is or I think it is 100% wool anyway.
Nice. That works.
By the way that it blocked. I think I'm going to go with it's a sport or DK weight, because it's not worsted, but it's also heavier than fingering.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not a worsted weight. But I think you could do the same pattern, but do it in like a in the Shibui yarns, and that would be freaking beautiful and nice and summery hattish.
I mean, anything that you make out of the Shibui would be pretty summery.
It would just be pretty. I have to wear it because it's pretty.
Oh, except for their dune. That was, oh my god, the dune. I'm so sad that I actually tried the dune.
Why did you do that? Because now you want it, and you don't even like worsted weight yarns. I didn't even bother with the dune because I knew I'd love it.
It's not even that. It's the fact that they're discontinuing it.
Yes.
Dune is 50% baby alpaca, 25% baby camel.
I love that they make yarn out of camel.
And 25% silk. Oh my goodness, it's gorgeous, and I mixed it with either some pebble or some reed.
I think it was pebble?
I think I mixed it with the pebble, and oh my god. No, it was the reed.
It was the reed?
I mixed reed with pebble and dune.
Okay.
It was freaking amazing altogether.
All I know is you had me touch it as you were knitting your swatch, or I went, give me swatch.
Yeah, pretty much. I think everybody went, give me swatch.
Yeah, that's, can you blame us? We all had beautiful combinations.
Everybody else went for the soft stuff, and I'm like, no, I want some crunchy oomph to my fabric.
Would like some tooth?
Some tooth.
Some tooth.
Crunchy oomph.
Okay, that's fair. Definitely went for the soft stuff, mostly to see if I could knit in it, which was my big sort of goal for going down there, was to see if I could knit in that light of a yarn, or if I would have to match it with something quite heavy to make it doable for me. So while I couldn't see it on its own, once I paired up the Silk Cloud with even the Lunar, which is still a lace weight, it gave it enough thickness that I was able to pick it up off my needles and see what I was stitching and not drop any stitches, which was big, was the not dropping stitches part. So I'm super excited. It means that type of combo mix knitting is available to me in the lighter weights, which is wonderful in my mind.
Now that we've waxed poetic about the thing that we actually went there for, do you want to talk about the yarn that we actually did buy?
Okay, listen. You let us loose in the yarn store, and we had no adult supervision, and we had nobody coming to pick me up.
Yeah.
What did you think was going to happen?
So I felt so inspired by this concept of mixing yarns.
Oopsies.
But the Shibuya yarn was way too expensive. I was running around petting everything.
I was also running around petting everything.
And then my hand landed on some Barocco summer silk, which we tried at
the yarn tasting and chunk show that we went to like 2 weeks earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Amano yarns.
I think it was the Amano trunk show, yeah.
Anyway, we tried it there, and I'm like, oh, but I really don't need it. And then this time I saw it, and it was in this lavender lilac sort of a colorway. And then I'm like, wait. And then I ran over to the other side of the store to some Fliss by Handmaiden, which is a linen silk blend.
Which we've been eyeballing.
I had originally been eyeballing 3 skeins of it to do my wedding shawl, but decided against it because it's really expensive, like $40 a skein. But you get more than 50 grams.
Yes.
It's like 400 meters.
Yeah.
But also because they didn't have enough for the shawl that I wanted to knit. But I ran over and grabbed some of that because it's speckled with purple. And then I ran back to the summer silk, and it matches the mid-tones of the purple.
Beautifully.
So I may have bought both together with the intent of making a kind of a mixed material shawl.
Which super inspired Jocelyn to grab a ball of Baroque summer silk and whatever other random colors she felt like grabbing. I wasn't going to do purple because we don't need matchy-matchy shawls. We're friends. I don't think we're quite that level of friends. So I went with a Hedgehog Fibers fingering weight in a wild cherry.
Oh, yes, the black and red.
The black and red with the white. So it is going to be a really beautiful, strong contrast.
Ooh,
and I
such
think
contrast.
I'm going to do the Nostalgia Shawl by Alana Nodell for that one. So that'll look super beautiful and bright and bold as all get out. Now, I mean, the other color I had thought about doing a shawl in with the wild cherry from the Hedgehog Fibers was Hedgehog Fibers Egg Yolk. So it's not like I'm afraid of color combinations.
But it looked really good together somehow.
A la Stephen West. Apparently I'm all about the very bold colors. And I don't trust a colorway to sort of match unless I put it beside another one. And I'll just sort of randomly hold the skein I want and kind of walk past all of the colors till I find one that appeals to me. So I'm not looking at the colors and going, well, that might not match, and that undertone might be different. I'm just like, I love this. What do you go with? You go really well with this. Excellent. What can I make?
Mm-hmm.
And then I wait, so it's fine. It means I have a lot of yarn in my stash. I'm not offended by this concept. It also means when I'm inspired to do random things, there's usually something I can just start with at home. I also accidentally discovered the cotton rayon section. Oopsies.
Oh dear.
Now, my mother and my sister are both quite allergic to wool. So is Mr. B. And that's fine. I'm not. So I knit things for myself in really pretty pacas and merinos and camels and silks and linens, and it's beautiful. I have never run across a fiber, whether toothy or not, that bothers me. My mom loves cotton. She loves cotton stuff, and we've been struggling to find really good colorways in cotton for her. She likes blues, she likes greens, she doesn't like wishy-washy colors. Some pastels, she doesn't like pastel colors. She's got a strong coloring, she likes strong colors. And I found and got a skein, and I don't remember the name, so we'll have to link it to the stash in the Ravelry notes in the show notes. I'll make sure to get the pictures up for you tonight or tomorrow. I found a blue and a yellow in a cotton rayon blend. Now, I'm going to make the first thing for myself. It's going to be a simple shawl. I might even really just do the coffee shop shawl again and do it in a fingering, or in a sock weight, because I think it's a sock weight yarn, which will look wonderful and be a nice summer shawl, which is good. And what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, I like cotton rayon blends more than cotton blends, but that specific variety of yarn also comes in 100% cotton. which means if my mom tries it, she likes the color, we can go and find a cardigan pattern she likes, and I can make her a summer cardigan with the right length sleeves and the right length for her body, and buttons or no buttons as she desires. Like, we'll find something she likes, and I can start working on that for her. So that's my hope, is she likes the cotton rayon. I'm going to whip it up in a shawl real quick over the summer, and if she likes it this fall, I can start working on something for her to have next summer, and a nice cotton weight for her so that she can wear it and have it as part of her wardrobe. So also means we'll be going to the yarn store with my parents.
I should not be around for that trip.
No, because if we go on the weekend while Woolsey Wool is having their sidewalk sale, my stash will grow in proportion to that, so will my needle collection, because my dad will go, yes, but the set makes more sense, even though you only need the 2 needles, because the set makes more sense. And, oh, you need a drop spindle, okay, or, oh, you need a ball winder, well, let's get that while we're here. And, oh, you need so, like, my collection will grow exponentially, because my dad doesn't stop to think, I don't need them right now. He just goes, yeah, but you'll need them in the future. And he knows how hard it's been the last couple of years. I'm finally splitting my blogs, which is a complete segue, but I'm blogging about how hard it has been to go visually impaired, and he knows how much I've had to give up over the last couple of years that I've really enjoyed. So for him, it's but you enjoy it now, and you know you can't do it forever. So he's trying to enable me into projects and hobbies and habits that'll keep me busy, keep me entertained, keep me active, and keep me learning, so that I don't segue into that angry do-nothing sort of situation, which is really not healthy for anybody. So from his mind, he can help his daughter, which is just about as important as marrying me off. My dad's that kind of man, and that's fun. It's a common argument I have with him all the time, where he asks me when my partner is going to make me an honorable woman, and my response is by getting a cell phone. Which is not the response I think he's going for.
We have another new section.
Which
we are sort of purloining from the Teaching Your Brain to Knit podcast. They have a What Our Knitting is Teaching Us section. We are doing What Our Podcasting is Teaching Us as a 10th episode kind of thing. We would just like to briefly recap all the things that we've learned in 10 episodes of recording, what to do and what not to do.
Well, or even so much the learning process.
Such as in the vein of purloining things. Don't accidentally purloin segment titles as regular segments from other podcasts, especially without attribution. Don't do that. That's not cool. Sorry about that.
I've had better moments in my days where I've thought about things. The podcasting thing has been really interesting. Like, I didn't know much about it coming into it, other than the research I put into it after, again, if we're honest, super inspired and fangirling on the Knitmore Girls. It is my favorite knitting podcast. I have other knitting podcasts I enjoy, but they're my favorite. And I remember in one of the older episodes, I have now officially listened to all 400 plus episodes.
Wow.
I've been stuck at home a lot. What do you want? So, and they used to invite people to send them demo recordings of their new podcasts for them to listen to and talk up about. And then they started talking about how if you thought you had something to add to the knitting community, you should do a podcast, which got me thinking, hey, a podcast from the Canadian perspective about people who are still learning to knit. We're not 20 plus years experience, and we're not sitting there going, oh yeah, it's a drop set in the sleeve with the right. We're still like, what? Magic. How did this work?
We're still like, what's a sweater?
What's a sweater? And learning and exploring and sort of gaining ground in the fibre community and in building networks and building friends and exploring and becoming better knitters and different people for it. So I was like, why don't we do that? So I talked to Diana. And you didn't say no. This is all your fault.
Well, I had in the back of my mind also been thinking, hey, you know what sounds like fun? A knitting podcast. But who's ever going to do that with me? So I just, won't ever mention it. It'll just be one of those things that I'll never actually do. And then you're like, hey, let's do a knitting podcast. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay. Sure, that sounds good. Oh, man. So, that is how we ended up deciding we were going to do a knitting podcast. And then I went, what are we going to call ourselves? Noting that it is very difficult for me to name things. But I immediately turned to Mr. B and went, so I'm going to do this thing. and I don't know kind of what to call us. So that took a while. Once we got over that hump, I started reading about everything else, which totally fair. It works really well that way, not a problem. And we've begun this podcasting journey. I'm not going to lie, the first chunk of my research was literally listening to the first 10 episodes of every knitting podcast I could get my hands on, to sort of gauge where we were coming from and how we were starting versus how they were starting. Taking into note that if they've been doing it for a while, it was like years ago, so stuff was different. The technology was a little bit different. What your expectations for a podcast were different. So keeping in mind that things have changed over the intervening years as podcasting becomes a bigger and a bit more of a professional scheme. And looking at how the podcasts have changed over time. So listening to the first 10 episodes and listening to the last 5 or 10 episodes that they had out to see how those changes have occurred over time. Which is how I end up listening to all of the Knitmore Girls. Because it started off with, I'll just listen to the first 10, and then I've already listened to the last 10 because I've been listening to them for a while. And it was like, I'll just listen to 10 more. And then I'll just listen to 10 more. And it's like, whatever. I'm earning the low 100s at this point. Let's just listen to them all. What else do we do? We had spent a lot of time figuring out how to record and balance out our vocal cords. If you ever get to meet us in person, I am incredibly loud. Like, I'm sitting too close to the microphone and I have to lean back. I'm a loud creature. I don't apologize for my loudness other than to go, I'm sorry if you're deaf. You'll hear me just fine. I have a tendency to kind of overtake people with quieter personalities. I don't mean to, but I do. And Diana is not as loud and gregarious as I am.
Hence, I must caffeinate.
And I have to learn to balance her slightly more quiet and introspective nature with my slightly louder and just say whatever's on my brain nature, which works really well for our friendship, for I will make a very bold and random statement, and Diana will stand there and go, what? But she's rarely offended by my giant bold statements. Confused, bemuddled,
confused,
but not offended.
rarely offended.
So I'll take it.
On the flip side of that, I'm having to learn to talk more and louder and all that stuff.
Make friends.
Music contract law. You want to talk about that?
So, there's this thing you learn as you reach upper levels of academia. Your field gets very, very specialized. And I studied late antiquity, medieval ages. So a lot of what I studied was contract laws, what was written down. Same with biblical texts, religious books, because that's what we have. So when I started looking into getting a theme song, because I know we'd like to have a theme song, something to sort of let you know that the podcast is starting and that the podcast is ending, which is still a goal that we have, I kind of fell down the rabbit hole that was contract royalty laws for music and what you can and can't sort of put there. Also, side note, if anybody who listens who knows somebody who's a musician, who would love to write a theme song for us, please email me, because I have now spent weeks reading contract laws.
That's northernknitspodcast@gmail.com.
Please email me. I would love to not have to not just hunt down through the website, but hunt down through the artist, plus verify that it's okay for podcasting, then pay them to have access to the music snap for either a year or permanently, depending on the website, artist, and contract, with price ranges varying. And a lot of people not offering it for podcast format, but okay for other formats, because it's also sometimes format dependent.
That's a mess.
It has been a long slog. I'm going to talk to some artists individually, see if I can get a musician that I might know who might be willing to do something. Or again, anybody who's listening who's got a musician who you think would be a good suit or would be able to help us out, please email us. Again, northernknitpodcast@gmail.com. Otherwise, I think we're going to have to look at free domain music, just to avoid the complications in it. And it's a lot more complicated than I thought it was, and I thought it was complicated. So that has been a very interesting learning curve for me to sort of look at and go, because I don't want to step on toes, and I don't want to misappropriate or not credit somebody where they're due, and sort of be that kind of person who's like, ha 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 ha, and barge ahead. I want to do it consciously and be respectful and mindful of intellectual property. So something I didn't think would take as long as it has. I thought it would take longer to come up with segment titles and get used to talking and editing the sound of my own voice. It has taken us longer to do a theme song for me than me to get used to editing my own voice. It's the little things that you don't think.
You wouldn't think it would be that difficult.
No.
Hence, we do not have music yet.
Not yet, but soon. I will figure that out. We will get there. I know for you, you were astounded at how easy it was to fall into a weekly schedule.
Yeah, it, not this past week so much, but generally.
Sorry. I had, yes, we should apologize and mention the podcast. You get 2 this week, special week. I had some family stuff creep up, so I was delayed in finishing my audio edit to send it to Diana for show notes. So my bad, I apologize. Life kind of went, wee, and I had to go deal with some other stuff first.
Well, we're not being paid for this, so life comes first.
Life comes first, especially when family's concerned, so that's how that works.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, we're at 10 episodes now, so we've been doing this for almost 2 months? Over 2 months?
Over 2 months. 2.5 months.
Dear heavens, when did that happen?
I don't know.
That's why we had to have celebratory cupcakes, right?
Yeah.
Though, mind you, all we really need to say is, Jocelyn, we need celebratory cake, and my response will be, yes, we do. What are we celebrating? Is there anything else you've noticed about podcasting so far in the first 10 episodes that you didn't know before we started?
I think I mentioned my stuff. Recording in chunks.
Oh, that has made my editing easier. We record and edit on a tablet.
You edit on tablet. I have nothing to do with the editing. I just do show notes.
You do show notes. I am super grateful I do not have to do show notes and links. And I think you have decided you're super grateful that you don't have to do the audio editing.
Oh, yeah.
Episodes start, for me, you get them about anywhere, ideally under an hour to about an hour and 5 or 6 minutes. I start with almost 2 hours of content that I have to wheedle down.
We talk.
A lot. And we talk multiple times a day. And
what
see
do we
each
even
other.
talk about?
I don't. It's nothing really in the end. It's just whatever happens to be floating through our brain across several forms of social media. So I'll be texting you, you'll be Snapchatting me, and then I will send you, like, an email or something. Like, or a Facebook message. We're all over the board on how we do things.
And then we still manage to talk about knitting for 2 hours every week, at least.
At least. And I'll send you texts at, like, 3 in the morning, and you get them at, like, 8 and reply. Like, we're weird. But it's definitely solidified and made a stronger friendship for us.
Mm-hmm.
Which is wonderful.
Yay, friendship.
Yay, adult friendships. Because we didn't meet in high school, we didn't meet in college, we are strictly adult friends.
That is true.
Weird. That was an eyebrow raise for everybody who can't see
like
Diana's
a
face.
non-school adult friend.
A non-school adult friend, that is what we are to each other. Strange.
You know what, I think you're my only non-school adult friend.
I'm very honored by that title. I'm going to continue to learn as we grow and become more sort of professional as the scheme goes on. And next we'll be learning how to talk to companies and advertise our podcast and sort of start to build and grow a social media base, which I think will be a really interesting and fascinating concept. I've had to do it with my blogs, and I've had to do it with my YouTube channels and stuff, so I'm used to sort of that ebb and flow tide. It's always fascinating to start it in a new format because it's always different. How I meet and interact with people on Twitter is not the same as how I meet and interact with people on my blogs. It's different. Sometimes someone will follow my blog and follow me on Twitter, or find me on Twitter and then follow my blog. So I get cross-pollination, I guess is what they would call it. Though I definitely don't really have it with the podcast because I'm still learning how to sort of drop that into my feed and have it grow and organically be its own presence.
Social media is a big hurdle.
Social media is an interesting beast, and it is always changing, so it is a wonderful, it's a way to grind your levels. There's your gaming reference for the day. Grind your levels to collect your loot. That's what you have to do with social media.
Level grinding.
Level grinding. Or in my case, because I'm stuck on playing Stardew Valley, so much farming. All the time I'm farming! Which is weird, considering I garden. Like, why do I need to do it in-game when I do it in person?
I don't know, I hate gardening, but I'm like, Stardew Valley, gardening, yes please.
Yeah, it makes no sense, but there you have it.
Maybe I should stream some Stardew Valley tonight.
If you stream Stardew Valley, we should try to... You know what, you need to show me how to set stuff up so I could also do it.
Yeah, sure.
On Twitch, because then we could both be on Twitch. and or talk to each other on Skype when we're on Twitch or something. We should
Yeah, we could
figure
totally
out some sort of interconnectivity. That way I can do stuff on the computer and just talk to you instead of having to flip tabs and type. Because as interesting as it was to type my blog while typing you, some of the chat ended up in my blog post and I had to take it out afterwards. I was like, wow, this is so not what I meant to say here. I was typing what I was thinking and then I had to go over to the chat and type it again. It's a good way to segue into events. Where are we yet to go?
Well, we are currently doing a knit-along. That is the textured triangle shawl.
With Marley, Seabird, and Red Heart yarns!
Yeah.
I really enjoy Red Heart yarns. I'm using them for my 365-day granny project. And I'm super enjoying this chunky, bulky, super soft essential stuff.
Yeah, their
It's
soft
so
line
fluffy.
Their soft line is lovely and squishy, and I like it.
Mm-hmm. And it's machine washable, which is great because I'm doing mine in white. If you Google Marley Seabird and Red Heart Knit Along, make sure you add the textured triangle shawl snap to it because she has done a garter shawl with them before. The Facebook group is amazing. They're such wonderful people.
Mm-hmm.
There are people in there who've knitted for like 2 weeks and they're doing this knit along for the first time. And I'm like, oh my god. You are so much. You are so brave. I did not have the brass cojones necessary to do that after 3 weeks. After 3 weeks of knitting, I was like, ha! I can learn how to purl. Yay! It's 3 weeks of knitting. You're like, I'm going to do a public knit along. Oh my god. Wow.
I think there's one lady in there that's actually totally blind.
Yeah.
She was asking for some help with transcribing the pattern so her screen reader could handle it.
Yep. Yeah.
I thought that was pretty awesome.
I was just like, what? There's so many just amazing skilled people out there, and I was just like, I think I need to go back through the feed. It'll take a bit to find it. I think I need to message her. And I was like, you and me, we need to be friends. Like, some of these people just are amazing. Some of these women have got the shawl done already, and they're starting a second one.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I need to know you.
Stash Dash, May 26th starts. 26th? I keep hearing 26 in the podcast.
So 26 it is. I'm going to go with the podcast knows what it's talking about more than I do.
So, Stash Dash, May 26th. You work your way through the stash, and when you finish the knitting on a project, you get to count all the meters. And you can go for I think a 1K, 3K, 5K, 10K, and 15K for the superstars. And the idea is that you just try to knit your way through your stash. And this is an event put on by the Knit Girls podcast.
Oh, I love them. They're so good. And they talk about books, which is my other favorite thing on the face of the planet. Books.
So that runs till sometime in August. I don't think they have an official end date for this year yet.
I think she was gonna run it, Lala was gonna run it a little bit longer than her go back to work date, so it would round out a week.
Okay.
Which makes sense, and that's okay. Though, I don't remember, but it's in August, so I'm excited. I'm gonna do 5K, because I'm crazy. And I really want to knit myself an Afghan over the summer for my couch, or crochet myself an Afghan for the couch. So
you have fun with that.
The yardage will add up really well. What I did my mom's Afghan in less than a month.
If I finish 3 shawls, I will hit probably 2K. So
we just gotta get you knitting more.
Yeah. Next thing is Worldwide Knit in Public Day on June 10th.
I have the emails prepped to talk to people, but I need to talk to the lady that Woolsey Wool first to see if they have an official event. And if they don't, I'm going to email a couple of the local coffee shops and donut places, the artisan fancy donut places, and see if they might be willing to host some people for Worldwide Knit in Public Day, and then do a posting on the Woolsey Wool site with their permissions and stuff, to see if we can generate some interest in going and having donuts and coffee and knitting.
Sounds good.
I think that'll be quite a bit of fun. If not, worst case scenario, it's you and me at the ledge. We'll get some photos.
Yes.
Because the legislative building is beautiful, and it's just wonderful to go sit by the fountains and knit in the summertime.
Yes.
With sunscreen.
Copious sunscreen.
I'm excited. I like Worldwide Knit in Public Day. It's always a lot of fun.
Coming up after that is not knitting specific, but we'll be going to Icon July 21st to 23rd.
For I am secretly an anime fan. Not so secretly an anime fan. I'm a massive anime fan.
I'm an intro anime fan.
Which is fine. Everyone starts somewhere, and I'm certainly willing to drag you down that rabbit hole. As I was so gleefully dragged down when I first moved to the city, so I'm no problems. I had a friend.
I was all ready to be dragged down the rabbit hole last year, but I got so sick that week.
Oh, that's okay. It happens. So this year we're healthy people.
Healthy people, especially because the Sunday of Icon, I got on a plane to Vegas
For
10 days. For
what's
B-Sides and DEF CON, which are also not knitting. Those are computer security conferences, but my knitting will come, of course, because what else do you do on a plane? Watch
Knit.
movies and knit.
Yeah, this makes
or
perfect
listen
sense
to podcasts and knit.
Yep, no, I'm with you on this one. My favorite thing to do on an airplane is watch old reruns of How It's Made.
I never thought of that. That's great.
I really love watching reruns of How It's Made. There's like on my tablet, they're downloaded, they're there. And I have them, and that's what I watch on an airplane. After Icon we have?
After that, the next event will be the Manitoba Fibre Festival, September 15th to 16th at the Assiniboia Downs, but not in the horse racing part. It's in like the barn part that's next to that. Some kind of exhibition hall.
I think it's an exhibition hall, yeah.
I think that's what it's called.
Yeah. I'm excited for that. It'll be my first time going.
This will be my third or fourth time going, and it's always fantastic.
I expect Cloud9 Fibers will be there and take money of my monies.
I expect I will throw money at Hillary's Magical Yarn Emporium. Yarnorium? I think it's Yarnorium.
Yeah, that's going to take monies.
The only thing of hers that I bought that I've actually used is the fibre that I'm currently spinning.
Ah!
I have 2 or 3 other things of yarn from her that I haven't used yet, because they're just so damn pretty, and I just sit there and pet it.
Yeah, no, I expect many of the small indie dyers who are local here to our area and fiber fluff sellers to accept and take my monies quite willingly, because I don't place those kinds of restrictions on myself, knowing that I'm going to be spending money on this, and knowing that there's yet one more children's hospital book sale this year. I'm going to start saving for these things, because
Good plan.
yeah, that's going to be a pricey day, and I don't care. My sister's already been like, how are we going to fit the 3 of us and all of that fiber in the car? I'm like, I don't know, we'll probably have your kid too. She's like, oh my god.
Don't buy fleeces.
What, do I need a fleece worth of anything right now? I haven't even started spinning. That's a little extreme. Can I spin first before I start buying entire fleeces?
Yes, especially because we don't have any of the tools required to process a fleece.
Yeah, I might buy processed fleeces. Roving?
I believe it gets processed into roving. Not sure on the terms.
I would buy a sweater's worth of roving, but and a bit more, because always extra's good, just in case I randomly, and by randomly most likely, decide on cable cardigans, which I think every single cardigan pattern I have queued right now has cables in it. Or is lace.
Have fun with that.
Oh, I'm gonna be cabling for days. That's fine. But no, I'm excited. But yeah, it might be you, me, my sister, and the midget in one car.
My mom will come too.
That's good. She's got a bigger trunk than my sister's little hatchback.
Well, and then we'll have 2 of us, or 2 cars as well.
Yeah, plus possibly Red and Misty, depending on Red's work schedule and Misty's work schedule.
My goodness.
Yeah.
It'll be quite the party. We have one more event that I don't think we got to yet.
No.
Our last event that we have planned thus far this year is the Central Canada Comic Con, which is, again, not knitting, but knitting will come.
Because we're nerdy geek people. Whatever word would you like to use with that?
And that is October 27th to 29th.
I like to dress up for that convention.
Oh yes, I will try to sew something for that one.
Once I get my sewing machine fixed, it'll be a lot easier for me to help out and help you get some stuff done. Though I should probably see if I can get your sewing machine in at the same time to get it checked.
Yeah. I can haul it out when we're done podcasting, maybe after dinner.
Maybe after dinner.
Because I'm getting really hungry.
So am I. And I can see if I can take a look at it and see if we can figure out what's going on.
I think it's even threaded and everything, so like if you can take a look and like if that's good to go, then it's good to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll take a look at it here tonight before I go home. So that's it for events for the moment. Barring any additional add-ons from Wolseley Wool or Ram's Wool or any other sort of random knitting events I run across where I go, hey, you want to go do this?
I was going to add that I think I still prefer my wooden needles because they feel warmer in my hands. But if I just want to do a simple stitch and do it quickly, these are fantastic.
Wonderful. So we both like them. We both go, yes.
Highly recommend.
And I think they're in most knitting stores.
I think so. They're pretty common.
So it's a good way to get into it and have something with it. I'm really a fan of the better cord over the big box.
The cord is also fantastic.
Over
yes.
the big box intro ones, it's a beautiful cord, and it's a nice needle set to start with or stay with, depending on what your preferences are.
I don't plan on getting rid of mine anytime soon.
I will probably be using mine for a good long while because I really like them, and they're so pretty and shiny. I'm with you on the shiny. It's kind of like, yeah, shiny needles, let's do that.
Okay.
So it's good. But I think for us, that is it and all.
You can find our show notes located at northernknitspodcast.com. If you want to get in contact with us, there's a contact form on the website, or you can just email us at northernknitspodcast@gmail.com. You can find us as Northern Knits Podcast on Pinterest, Ravelry, and
Instagram
and Facebook.
Oh, right. I did a Facebook group. I forgot about that.
You can find us individually. I am wool-rat on Ravelry and Firewater and Fibre on Instagram. Where can people find you online?
Everywhere.
What is your handle online?
It's usually Amber Dragon, Dragun. Sometimes with a 1, sometimes without a 1, but the picture is always of my face. So if you find me in one location, you will recognize my face on the rest of the locations. And when I mean everywhere, I mean Snapchat, Periscope, Google+, Ravelry, Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook. I have 3 blogs, 2 on WordPress, technically 2 on Blogger, though one is an intermittent one, the other ones are more regular. I'm reachable via Gmail, and I'm on Facebook, and I'm in Facebook groups. I'm everywhere.
Okay. So, until next week, I'm Diana.
And I'm Jocelyn. Saying no matter where your week takes you,
Don't forget to knit. Bye.
Still podcasting. oh, the official
they're
sneak.
sneaking.
I'm moving silently.
We're almost done. We're just doing our review.
Allow me to use my bardic music to increase your stealth check.
Yep.
Boom!
We are moving quietly, quietly, quietly. We are moving quietly.
It's moments like this I wish we were a video podcast.
None of this is going to make it into the edit, is it?
Oh, yes.
Oh, this is the bit at the end.
Oh, good. Okay.